This might be the wildest story you've never heard. They say this man, Nelson Mandela, died in prison. That everything you think you know about him, the iconic smile, the calm voice, the man who forgave his enemies, was actually someone else. A man named Gibson Makanda, someone with a similar build but a different voice, different walk, different aura. And yet, this so-called stranger became the face of peace around the world. By the end of this video, we're going to show you one clip that completely destroys this theory. But first, let's go down the rabbit hole. It all starts in Robben Island, a bleak windswept prison off the coast of Cape Town. Mandela spent 18 of his 27 prison years isolated, monitored, slowly deteriorating. And here's where the theory begins. Some claim that during his final years in prison, Mandela's health took a nosedive, and he died before he could be released.
Nelson Mandela spent 18 years of his 27 years in the cell. May I ask you a question? How was that tall man sleeping in this cell? Just look at the cell, enter inside. He must sleep diagonal. He can't sleep straight. This is the cell I slept when I was here at peace section. I sacrificed my education. I sacrificed my whole being for the people, not for myself. I sacrificed my family, my parents. I didn't listen to my parents because I wanted the people of South Africa to be literally free. You don't come with intellectual terminology to me and tell me that this cannot be implementable. While we were fighting, this was our policy document. Freedom Charter. Then at the end of the day, you tell me that it's no longer implemented because you're negotiating.
Do you feel like Mandela betrayed you guys?
If you ask me.
But South Africa was at a tipping point. Apartheid was collapsing, the world was watching, and the government needed a way out, a symbol of peace that could calm the chaos. Enter Gibson Makanda. According to believers, Makanda was a fellow ANC comrade, a freedom fighter with a similar complexion and build, but not as well known. Allegedly, he was trained to imitate Mandela. His posture, his mannerism, and released to play the role of a living legend. The real Mandela, gone, buried in secrecy. The replacement, ready to lead South Africa into a new era. Too insane to be true? Maybe. But this theory gets even weirder. Okay, let's talk about what believers actually point to as proof. First, physical differences. They say Mandela's post-prison face just didn't match up. Compare photos from the 1960s to the 1990s. They'll point out his earlobes look different, his nose looks slightly reshaped, his walk slower, more measured. Believers argue these aren't signs of aging, they are signs of an entirely different person. Second, his voice. Pre-prison Mandela was fiery, radical. He once said, "We have no choice but to take up arms." But after prison, calm, soft-spoken, a diplomat who talked endlessly of reconciliation. Conspiracy theorists say that's not growth. That's a completely different personality. Third, language. Mandela grew up speaking fluent isiXhosa, but allegedly the men who left prison didn't speak it the same way. The accent was off, the rhythm different, like someone pretending to be Xhosa. This is where Gibson Makhanda comes in again. He was Zimbabwean who apparently didn't speak fluent Xhosa. Suspicious, right? It gets more complex when you realize how high the stakes were. Mandela wasn't just being released. He was walking straight into a volatile nation with a broken past. He'd be expected to lead millions peacefully. So the theory goes, the real Mandela was too weak or already gone, and a body double, trained for diplomacy, stepped in. Why people believe it. But here's the thing, this theory says more about us than about Mandela. When someone becomes too perfect, we stop believing they're human. Mandela was locked away for 27 years and came out preaching forgiveness. That's not normal. The average person would want revenge, anger, chaos. But Mandela walked out smiling, calm, composed, like a monk returning from exile. For some people, that level of grace seems impossible. So they ask, is he even real? That's where conspiracies thrive. In the empty spaces between what we expect and what actually happened, we try to fill those gaps with stories, wild, crazy stories, because the truth feels too good to be real. Now here's the thing that breaks the entire theory apart. Remember how the new believers say the new Mandela couldn't speak closer the same way, but there's just one problem.
Sifuna imali eyaneleyo yokubana silungise zonke ezi zinto kuba sifuna abantwana bethu baye esikolweni bafunde mahala. Umzala ngamnye xa ngamsanga umntana wakhe esikolweni afakwe ityala.
Uba ndibe ndisaphila namhlanje ndizokwazi ukungqina oba umzukulwana wam simfaka ngoko ebukhosini aphathe apha konvezo. Loo nto iyawubanga into yobana ndilale unaphakade ndonwabile kuba lo mfana simmekayo namhlanje
kuyafuneka into yobana sibambane, siqine njengoko kwakunjalo.
There's no hesitation, no clumsy grammar, no awkward accent. That isn't someone faking it. That's someone who grew up living it. Gibson Makanda, by every account, did not speak closer like that. He couldn't have faked it, not even close. And when you hear Mandela speak, you feel it. This was his language, his voice, his truth. The Gibson Makanda theory is fascinating. It speaks to our obsession with secrets and government plots and body doubles. But in the end, it all falls apart. Not because the government was too honest, but because the truth was too powerful to fake. Nelson Mandela wasn't replaced. He wasn't a puppet. He wasn't a myth. He was a man. A man who lost nearly 3 decades of his life behind bars and came out ready to unite a country that had every reason to tear itself apart. And maybe that's why some people just can't believe it, because believing in peace after that much pain is harder than believing in a conspiracy. If this changed how you see Mandela, hit that like button. And if you stayed all the way through, comment if it's true or if it's still a theory. Let us know what you think. And subscribe for more untold African stories that go deeper than textbooks ever will.